Dusk has fallen on Dublin City, and firefighter Alan Devine arrives at work ready for another busy night ahead. Devine is a recent graduate of the O'Brien Institute, Dublin's trainee firefighter school, and the newest member of D-Watch here at Townsend Street. He's only a few weeks into the job, but with the station situated in the heart of the city, Alan's had to hit the ground running.
I always remember I started on a Saturday night shift, and as nervous as I was day one, week one in training, it was amplified by 1,000. Long night, 15-hour shift, didn't take a break at all, was far too excited. And with Tara Street being such a large crew and such a large station and busy station, it was a whirlwind for the first few days, all right.
1324, 1787, 1136, 1375, 102, 1156.
Each shift starts when the roll call is announced. Badge numbers are called, not names. Duties are doled out next. Tonight, Alan is partnered with firefighter Noel Hosbach on ambulance duty. Noel is the most senior member of Dublin Fire Brigade, with more than 40 years' experience of firefighting and paramedic duties. So Alan will be learning from the master.
Now we look at that side out. All right. Check me out, brake lights there, reverse lights, please. All there. That's lovely. All the blues working? Yeah.
It isn't long before the bell rings and the firefighters set out on their first call of the night.
You've spent so long being on the outside looking in. After a few shifts, that realisation hits you. I'm now on the inside looking out. Okay, we're operational now. Let's really go for it.
The ambulance crew have responded to reports of a patient who is hemorrhaging. Even with all his training, the experience is still new for Alan, talking to and treating real patients firsthand.
Take your time, there you go. That's it. Now, next seat down here, love. When did the nose start and stop bleeding?
It's starting and stopping kind of all day.
Blood coming out of when you're coughing?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to eat or drink today?
Nothing. I can't, that's the thing, I can't eat.
Are you in any pain at the moment?
Yeah, my chest.
Okay, if you take a deep breath in for me, does it get worse, better, or stay the same?
When I breathe in.
It's all about the person that you're trying to help. It's comforting the patient. Trying to gather as much information, particularly from a paramedic point of view, to try and make sure that your differential diagnosis is as close as possible once you arrive to hospital. So as you're trying to gather your observations, get a blood pressure, all those kind of things, you're just trying to do as much as possible in a short space of time. Now, take your time, that's it. Now, over that way. Straight over to Noel.
Thanks very much.
There are 14 stations throughout Dublin City and County crewed by Dublin Fire Brigade. Recent graduate Shields is based in Donnybrook Station and sets about the daily equipment checks. The increasing level of responsibility when they become operational is something all the graduates have to come to terms with.
When you're training, I mean, you know it's not real life. Yeah, you're under pressure and whatever, but if something goes wrong, there's officers there to help you. Whereas though, when you're actually called out to something and it is persons reported, like, obviously your training kicks in and you keep your calm, but like the adrenaline rush and knowing that there's actually real people there that are dependent on you. Coming in as a girl, you're wondering what way they're going to take to you. I think all the lads are the same as how they would normally be around me, so that's good. Me coming in as the recruit with them looking after me, you know, as senior lads, they've all been in your position, so if you're asking that and if you're unsure, like, you can go to any of them and they're all willing to help out. Every time the bells go, it's that bit of excitement because, well, you don't know what you're actually going to. It is an exciting job and it's something completely different, so no, I definitely don't have any regrets.
Hello, fire and ambulance.
Yeah, I'm just driving up the M50 there, northbound. Is it the factory or something for?
Factory on fire.
How are you doing? The back end of a go-kart track seems to be lit up. I don't know if you know anything about it yet. There's a lot of tyres and a blaze. The whole lot seems to be blazing well there.
Oh, we haven't called for it yet. Lads en route.
At a go-kart track on the north side of Dublin, a huge stack of tyres has caught fire, sending plumes of dense black smoke billowing into the night sky. The source material of this blaze means the firefighters face a prolonged and exhausting job trying to contain it.
Tyres by nature, because they're densely packed polycarbonate rubbers, they're very difficult to extinguish. You can throw water on them all day long and the water will eventually just will roll off and evaporate off, and the heat that's still within the rubber itself reignites. In this particular case, there was literally hundreds of tyres and they were gone for some time before it was reported. As a result then, a lot of heat had built up.
We're going to do foam from here down to the left-hand side of the container. You lead the way and I'll follow you.
With water ineffective against this type of blaze, the firefighters changed their plan of attack.
Ready, lads, yeah?
The only way to combat a fire within such a large stockpile of tyres is to blanket it in foam. This not only cools the tyres, but also smothers them, starving the fire of oxygen and preventing it from reigniting. To complicate matters, the wind has picked up and is gusting through the site of the fire, fanning the flames and smoke even further. The proximity of Dublin Airport and the potential for overhead flights is an added cause for concern, and that's not the only threat they face.
A drum. See the drum in the head?
Yeah. Oil drums and thick black toxic smoke are just two of the other hazards the firefighters encounter as they battle to keep the blaze under control. Back at Townsend Street, another recent recruit, Philip Ferguson, is completing his equipment checks at the start of his shift. After 6 months of intensive training, Ferguson is more than ready to become a fully operational firefighter and get some real hands-on experience.
You don't know how to train, you want to just get in and just become one of the lads. It's full on, you know. Lads are very good on station, lads are sound, they'll put you wide to stuff. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a bit of crack now and a bit of slagging as you're a recruit, and you know, there'll be a bit of banter, but it's all good, you know, it's all character building.
Dublin Fire Brigade ambulance service.
Hello, fire department.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a blaze here on Stevens Green. Some building works, there's a car next to it, and it's catching fire very quickly.
The car on fire?
No, but it will be if it doesn't move quick.
Okay, they're on their way, all right.
Oh, there you go.
A generator inside a steel storage container has exploded in the heart of one of Dublin's busiest pedestrian areas. 2 trucks have arrived to combat the blaze. Each crew member knows their role, and even though firefighter Ferguson is new on the job, he has the same responsibilities as everyone else.
They drill it into you, so when you go out there, you don't think. You know what you have to do, and you just do it. From the very first call that happens out there, you just switch. Don't get me wrong now, you know, you're learning from every case you do, and especially if someone asks me what I do, I love telling them, yeah, I'm a firefighter, you know, and I'm proud of it. From the fire truck to the ambulance to dealing with people, you know, I enjoy every aspect of it. Yeah, I feel lucky that I'm doing it because I know there's a million guys that like to take my place. It's very physically challenging.
The fire has retreated to the dark corners and crevices of this container. Left to its own devices, the fire will inevitably spark into life again. The firefighters must hack their way to the core of this locked container.
My friends are nearly dying to tell people, like, guess what she does, and you won't believe what job she works at. I mean, you tell people what you do and they're kind of, first of all, their reaction is they think that you're messing them. Sure, you know, how would you be able to do that? Sure, you wouldn't be as strong as one of the lads. You have to just be confident in yourself and say, no, like, I'm well able to do the same job as them.
There's another vent that we can get on.
Having finally gained total access, water can be spread across the dying embers of the blaze. With the scene declared safe, Ferguson and the team begin makeup. It's another job under his belt for the new recruit. He's got through 6 months of hard training, but nothing could really prepare him for the intensity of fighting a live fire.
Sometimes you just think, wow, yeah, you know, we've come so far, and I'm in it for the long haul. Plan to be here now for a long time, yeah. Please God.
Firefighters Noel Hosbach and Alan Devine are on ambulance duty. Alan has recently graduated, and the steep step up from training to real service is something he knows he has to come to terms with as quickly as possible.
When you're out on the road, the starkest realisation within the first couple of shifts that you make, this is real now. You can't put your hand up and say, sorry, I need a minute. And that's the biggest mental hurdle that you kind of have to get over between the training and the operational.
All recruits are helped along the way by experienced firefighters as they learn the nuances of their new job, and they don't get any more experience than Noel Hosbach. Noel wears badge number 1, signifying that he is the most senior firefighter in the brigade. But for all his years of experience, Noel hasn't forgotten what it's like to be in Alan's shoes.
I remember well my first day, all right, because I remember the station officer on parade, he said, Mr. Hosbach, I think we give you the ambulance today. That was my first day on it. So you can see, what, 40 odd years later, I'm still on the ambulance. So it's come around to my time to be number 1. Unfortunately, it's not something you like to attain to, because it's a sign that your career is coming to an end, but it comes to an end for us all. So that's how I ended up as number 1.
We had heard of Noel even before we finished our training. One of the tutors, he was explaining, he was a senior man and still worked in the ambulance and was still hugely enthusiastic about the job. He's an absolute gentleman. 10, 20 years down the road, if I'm still half as enthusiastic as he is, I'll be doing great. Like.
That's, what do you say to all? Every crew I meet are actually asking me, when are you going, Hossie? I just tell them a few years time, not a year or two. I never actually tell anyone exactly when I'm going as such. Basically, I put it down to the fact that I enjoy being out. I enjoy being out helping people, and that may sound corny to you, but it's just probably part of my makeup. I do enjoy being out to help people. I find it very rewarding.
Delta 11-4, can you start making your way to the city centre for a 6-year-old female patient?
Roger that, control. Mobile at the same, thank you. The 6 months during training, you are trying to envisage what it's going to be like once you go operational. And the reality of it has been a little different. It's been busier at times than I thought it was going to be. Training is very sterile. When you're out in an emergency case, it's so dynamic. Things literally are changing by the second, so you're never faced with just one problem. There's a multitude of problems. The one thing you realise very quickly, you never know what's around the corner. You never know what you're going to be hit with.
Fire Brigade ambulance service. We have a fella who's been hit in the head. He was assaulted, so when did this happen?
I don't know. I just come upon him there.
Okay, and you said he was hit with a bottle?
He thinks he was given a couple of bottles by a bunch of kids.
Alright, any serious bleeding?
Yeah, he's bleeding from the head.
We're not working in a clinical environment. We're working out on the streets or in someone's home, and within your first few shifts, year, whatever it is, you'll do a lot, you'll see a lot. 1, 2, there you go, good man. That's it, Joe, that's it. Now, come into me, that's it, good man. Come into me. It's something that was discussed during training, and it's something that we discussed ourselves, and it's something that you know coming into the job, that there's a huge risk attached to this job, physically, emotionally and psychologically.
It's like any job. I mean, some fellas have come in and just take to it very, very easy. Some fellas have found it difficult. Where difficulties have arisen might be in relation to the ambulance, all right. I mean, a lot of them might have come into the job thinking they were going to be doing firefighting every day of the week. But I suppose you could probably say 60 to 70% of our job is EMS related. So just, for instance, if we've had a bad case, we would generally go back and we might sit around in the station and talk about it. What we do have now is actually we do have a monitoring system we can refer if lads do if they get a bad incident and so on, you know. Whereas back in the day, you just went from one case to the other. This sort of facility wasn't available to you. It makes it easier for people. But there are one or two that have come into the job and have found it so difficult that they just can't go on and have actually resigned from the job.
It's definitely not for everybody. You know, you're dealing with a lot of things. You're dealing with like people on the happiest day of their lives, having a baby, and you're dealing with people on the worst day of their lives. There's massive highs and lows in it, you know, so you have to be, I think, prepared for that. There does be at times to be particularly sad ones, whether, you know, it's more so a younger person, a child, or, you know, or a certain incident.
Control to Delta 104.
Yeah, 104, go ahead.
Could you go to the city car, please? 75-year-old male, 60 breathing, guaranteed attendance.
You shouldn't be carrying stuff with you. You need to be able to switch on and switch off. Again, it all falls back to your training, that it kind of just takes over. And if you do have an issue, like, you know, officers are very on top of it nowadays. They'll be constantly asking you, you know, you happy enough, any issues there? Or just luckily for me, I've enjoyed it. I haven't had any problems with anything I've seen so far, you know.
An old gentleman. He's a problem there. We're at the collar where he's breathing. He's a heart condition as well, as I say. He's fairly sick at the moment, so we're going to take him out to James.
You soon realise that, yes, emotional situations form part of the job. When you do come up against something that is hard to deal with, those first couple of cases, emotionally, yeah, they're difficult. Having to bottle everything up and be the hard shot, from my experience so far, those days seem to be long gone. OK, we're not sitting down every 5 minutes and crying on each other's shoulders.
BP 11162, you happy enough with that? Yeah. We'll hold on to keep the head warm. No, sir. Take up the James and now we'll see what the story is, sir. Happy enough, Alan?
Back on the north side of the city, the fire at the go-kart track is still burning strongly. A blanket of foam spread onto the stack of burning tyres has controlled the blaze. But the intense heat involved in this incident has further complicated the situation.
Because of the amount of tyres that were burning so intensely, stored right up against several containers, the amount of heat that was in these tyres, that heat radiated through and made these containers literally red hot and ignited the materials that were inside in the containers. We had no idea what was in these containers, but we had to gain access. So we had to cut several openings to get branch pipes and get firefighters in there.
With absolutely no idea what's inside these containers, the firefighters must proceed with absolute caution. Any number of dangers could lurk inside this burning box.
More water, more pressure.
When we're going into containers like this which are unknown, there's several possible dangers which could be within. There could be makeshift workshops, so there could be cylinders of oxygen and acetylene in there, or any other type of cylinder. So generally what we do is we'd open up small openings first of all, get branches in there. If there's still pockets that we can't reach, we will open it up further once we know it's safe and start sending firefighters in there with a branch pipe.
Fires have broken out around the smoky interior. They have no choice but to engage it from incredibly awkward angles. So with just enough access for a hose, a breathing apparatus team begins to spread water inside.
There's nothing else for it, isn't it? Yeah, there's nothing else around here. They're still wetting the walls in there, but there's no flame, no glow or nothing. There's not even a glow anywhere. It's all new.
It took over 20 firefighters to bring this blaze under control. Station Officer Jim Edgehill knows only too well what a challenging task it was for all the crews involved.
The problems the fire caused was the thick black smoke and the terrain for the firefighters to get in at the fire. Also with the M50 one side and the airport the other side. We were in touch with the airport and the smoke wasn't interfering with their flight paths. So we're now 2 hours later and we probably have another hour ahead of us here. It's been a successful operation, we're winding down now.
After over 40 years with Dublin Fire Brigade, Noel knows these city streets like the back of his hand. But time waits for no firefighter. And even if he's as sharp as a man half his age, Noel will soon have to hang up the uniform. As Dublin's most senior firefighter, he wears badge number 1 on his uniform with pride. For Noel, it's an honour that's bittersweet.
Well, as I say, unfortunately, it's a sign that what they call it, you're coming to the end of your career in one way. Because, like everything else, time moves on. And as I say, it wasn't something that I tried to attain, but it just falls into your lap eventually. I'm coming to the end of my career, so unfortunately, the only thing that's ahead of me now is the door. But I have to say that I've enjoyed my time in the Fire Brigade. I don't think I've ever regretted the day within the Fire Brigade from the day I started. So I hope that what they call it, over my career in the job might have imparted something to the likes of Alan there, who's on the ambulance there with me tonight, and is just starting off in his career. And I hope that Alan enjoys his career within the fire brigade as much as I have, and I wish all recruits the best of luck. As I say, I've had a good innings. All good things have to come to an end.
It's the excitement you feel every day going into work. Every day, every night you're going in and you're waiting on something to happen, and I suppose I just hope like in 27 years I still feel the same excitement going in as I do now, really.
I think it gives you a lighter outlook on life. The stuff we deal with puts stuff in perspective. You know, I look forward to coming off nights when you go home and you have the kids and the wife there, that you kind of just switch off and enjoy life and not worry about stuff maybe that might have before annoyed you. Life's too short, you know, just enjoy it like.
When you're working in the emergency services, people often ask you, well, what is it about it that you really enjoy? It's not knowing what the next call is, not knowing what's around the corner. It's station life, being around a bunch of guys that you spend so many hours with on a weekly basis. It's working with people, and it's great to be able to, in the short space of time that we spend with them, to be able to at least give them maybe some comfort, help them in which any way we can.
Always leave it the way you'd like to find it.
It's always a good day once I come home safe and sound. It's always a good day once everybody goes home safe and sound.